tonight, man. The question is, are men the problem, man? And I guess you got three of us right here, so we'll be able to try to cipher through this and answer these questions. So let's see what my boy got to say here.
Women are right to say it's all men till it's no men. I don't understand why dudes be getting offended at that. You know just how bad men have been throughout history and how men are today. But somehow when a woman says it's all men till it's no men, you find offense. It's not all men. Shut up. Understand what she's saying, bro. She gotta walk outside and look over her shoulders every day as a woman. Men, we don't do that. We don't. You, as a matter of fact, you are not afraid of a woman doing something to you. You're not. But who you will look out for is another man. Matter of fact, when y'all give advice to women, y'all always give advice to what? What to watch for in men. When that is literally admitting that men are the problem as a collective group. Throughout society, throughout history, today in today's time, men are the problem. That's why when y'all be doing this whole both sides argument, bro, it's harm happening on both sides. Not to the same extent. It's never gonna be the same. It's never gonna add up. Never. And then it'd be funny when the dudes be trying to justify it. Well, testosterone is what make men violent. Just dumb talking points, bro. Come on now, y'all gotta stop trying to gaslight these women, bro. Men are the problem. That's why when we as men be talking about accountability towards women, bro, leave the women alone. Start focusing more on men, because men are the overwhelming majority of the problem. 9 times out of 10 times. Start with the men, bro. The men is who need to be taking accountability. You need to start with the men. Stop starting with the lesser of two evils and address the majority, because men are the majority of the problems in society. Point blank, period. You can get mad at all you want.
All right, man. All right, man. Y'all heard him there, man. So what is y'all thoughts, man? Whoever want to go first, go first. You know, I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this today.
Hey, I ain't nobody's hater, bro. Get your bag, man. It's a lot of money over there on the pandering side. You know what I'm saying? It's a big check over there on that pandering side, man. Get your bread, bro. he know he full of it. Hey, hold on. Show me a time in human history where women have had more choice and more voice than ever than now. Show me a time in human history where they had more say so than now. Okay, so the more so with the results we have now, we can say, giving y'all all this liberty y'all wanted, this is where it landed us. Black men gayer than ever. Yeah, let's get into it. You got women masculine as hell and lonely. Yeah, crashing out on the internet every day. Y'all got liberation though. You got all these decisions making bad ones, left and right and left. And hey, if I'm wrong, show me some results that say I'm wrong. Show me the numbers. Show me the
Okay.
numbers. All these single mother households, and then they say, well, black men's attendance in college is down. Is there a correlation? Let's talk about it.
Okay. What you got, D? What you got, D? You let me. I think you. Let me see it. There you go. I got you. You good, D?
Yeah, so I'll say on multiple different fronts, man. Um, I I agree with Classic in the aspect that these women nowadays look for a man financially. They're no longer looking for love, bro. That's this real talk. And that's in this age. And like he said before, they have a lot more freedom than what they once had. Everything was all good and said done. It was the man's fault at the beginning of time because we control pretty much everything. They didn't really have the freedoms that they currently have now. And now, as we move to this new age, he he hit it dead on the head. He just that my man over there just pandering to get the likes and the women to be under his comments. But if you really stop and think about it, um, it's an equal thing. It's just as many men that's harmful as just as many women that's harmful from growing up only watching their mother go through men after men after men after men and then portraying that same thing onto the men that come into their lives. And it's just as many men who grow up in a single family home watching their mother lead them down a wrongful path as well, but they go continue to say it's the man. Don't get me wrong, we have our faults in the aspect that sometimes we're not there as a father. But for people like me, you, Classic, I don't know if you have children, but um, we're there for our kids. So that can't always be the narrative that the men are always the start of the problem. So that's what I have.
I agree. Y'all know how, well, I know D know how I feel. I tell people all the time, man. This is a conversation that would never end, especially in the black community, because as Classic, I think you set it up perfectly today. That's why I be tapping in with Classic, because he actually be talking about stuff that a lot of people don't think about. Like I never today. I don't know if you care if I jump on it, Classic. Today, Classic went back and said, "How was women 50 years ago?" Like if you think about a male gender and then the female gender, who has changed or who technically not even changed, who compromised the most in the past 50 years? It's been man. Men, because you think about it, pandering, that's what pandering really is. You compromising for the other gender to make them feel good, to hoping that it's gonna open up your choices. I know that gentleman who spoke, he's married, so I'm sure he's speaking more to that because he's married at this time. But with that being said, man, I wonder, I think men have been the ones who have compromised the most. And I think that's where the problem started. If you want to say men are a problem, the problem is because we have compromised and we've been compromised. And I think that's the biggest issue. And let me
Yeah.
pull up. Justin said, "Black men don't want college. How? Are there more entrepreneurs today?" I'm assuming he's saying there's still a lot of black men that are in college, enrolled in college. And correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, if I'm stating this wrong. You said it is black men in college, and it's not like it's more entrepreneurs today. So, would you?
No, I think I think he's trying to say black men don't want college. Well, then how are there more entrepreneurs? Because there are more black entrepreneurs, but I think it's a side effect of less black men going to college. More men are for going to college and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna get out here and start up my own thing and see where it get me." You know what I'm saying? Because one thing about college is it'll always be there. You can go back and get your education, but in your youth, while you got the energy to do the running around, you got the enthusiasm. Man, dive into that passion project. Why not? That's one thing about being a man. You got to become. And you can become at any point. You got people who really don't step into their greatness into their 50s. You got people who walk into their greatness at 25. But I never seen anybody get anywhere great without taking risk. You know what I mean? So I think a lot more men now are stepping out and saying, you know what, I'm gonna try something else before I just go dive 100K in the student loan debt right quick. You know?
That's the key. Jumping into student loan debt. Like nobody wants to jump into that anymore. Nobody wants to do that. I think you said it best. So with them saying black men don't want college, it's not necessarily that. Hey man, y'all know how they did this. They moved the goalposts, man. They went from, oh man, you guys got to go to college, so we started going to college. And I like, oh man, we need trade schools now. People starting to get out, go to trade schools. Now we're starting building our own communities. They told us we had that we don't step out enough to build our own. People starting to build their own. Now they're gonna move it again shortly. Don't worry about it. We'll get that. We'll get that soon too. But the one of the major tricks that they do is they try to control where they want the money to go because the money could be filled in certain areas. And one was college. It was so at that aspect. Yeah, man. We we as black men are taking a totally different step, and I like it.
But I wonder why is this conversation solely in the black community though? I think that's one of the biggest questions that we have to ask ourselves is like, because I don't care, you can go Google right now, man. I ain't, and correct me if I'm wrong, I ain't seen no white men having to talk about this type of stuff.
They got the money and they got the power. We're trying to necessarily get there. We're trying to get the money. We're trying to get the power. We're trying to become established. And they're going to find every which way to knock us down. And the first way is to make it seem like we're uneducated, like we don't know what we're talking about. So, oh, look, they're not even going to college anymore. Doesn't it sound like a knock? Sounds
Yeah.
like we. That's all they're doing. They're trying to find a different way to knock us than portraying it as it really is. Because they showed them like to say, hey, there's more entrepreneurs and they're building their own. No, they're not saying that either.
Nah, and you know what too? I just think it's just a matter of the fact that the media is controlled by those of that complexion. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
a lot of it is perception based because if you look at the numbers, ethnicity aside, just look at all the numbers for America. Most Americans are struggling, color aside, just period. So that's all households, that's everybody. Most people fall into the middle class by percentage and lower class. So, you know, there's plenty of white folks and non-black people who are having the same hardships and the same struggles with getting information and then the application of that information to do better as a family and getting their cousins and their aunties on board, right? Trying to really build empires and establish themselves. They're having a hard time with the mental aspect of it. Whereas just as many white people going through it, you just not gonna see it. Right, they're going to show you the best representations of them, the echelon of them, right? In the media, when you see a white person represented, it's normally going to be in their best light, whatever it is. They're going to represent them in their best light. They don't care if they got to go back to fourth grade to show the last time that he was a good person. That's where they'll go, right? Whereas with you, they're going to show you in the worst possible light possible. You know, oh, well, they don't, by the same token, they don't care if they got to go back to when you was 13 to say you were once upon a time arrested for stealing a Snicker bar. You feel me? They're going to find the worst light to put on you. You feel me? So I think it's a matter of who controls the media. There's just as many white folks struggling, more, because there's more of them in this country by numbers. So it's more of them struggling than it is us. It's just not depicted. I think that's part of it too.
But do you guys think we control more of this type of media though?
No,
You know, y'all don't think we control more of this now?
no.
I think we do. I think like this YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all that. I think African Americans are actually, because I think it's what pays them. I think we control most of what's being pushed out because they're like, hey, let them push it out. They're gonna push it out themselves. You see what I mean?
I get what you're saying, but I feel like the way they set the algorithm up, we going to see it's going to make it look that way. There's a lot more of them out there as well. We just it's the algorithm. Pay attention to the algorithm. The algorithm always sets it up as it should be. Like for instance, like if I go on my page right now, I'll probably see you guys, more people that look like us. That's how they want the algorithm to be set. Where if we were Caucasian, I really do believe we will run into a lot more Caucasian individuals on your page. They set the algorithm for a certain reason because they want to make it seem and also discourage us too. Because let's say you got a podcast, you got a podcast, and then I'm like, oh man, I want to start a podcast, and then I'm like, man, there's a lot of people out here doing podcasts. I guess I'll just hold off because I'm seeing that algorithm of so many people. But this is why I like individuals like you all, because you think on your own with your own accord and move as you should on your own accord. Once we start to do that and not worry about the outside noise from them, we'll be fine.
Okay. Okay. So plug. We just played the video of the gentleman that stated that men are the problem. Was you able to look at that video?
Yeah, I checked it out.
You was able to look. Let's see here. Justin said, "Do white men even express in detail their deduction about the white woman psyche?" Well, I guess that's modern psychology. So these conclusions from conversations like this should be experimented plus book. Okay.
Yeah, you was right though, Marcus. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Sometimes I play with my algorithm a little bit. Like I go tap into some Joe Rogan for a couple days just to see what else it starts spitting me. And it's some white boys podcasting, man, and they talking about they women too. And they haven't listen. This is an American woman thing. That's why on my channel you only sometimes see me based on the topic say black women,
Yeah.
black men. Most of the time it's just women and men because I'm telling you. They having the same issues. The white women lost it, but they just brought the sisters with them. Feminism was a white woman's movement.
Yeah.
They got the sisters, and then we went too far. You feel me? So
So let me tell y'all something. So one night I was super bored and I just went and I was looking up the algorithm. Like literally, bro. I was looking up the algorithm and some people said some things that made a lot of sense. He was like, look at the algorithm and look at the things that you actually sit and watch. And then when you start to reel through your reels, watch what populates. Like go stop on something that you would never stop on. Watch it a few times, go back, click out, go back in, and watch how many times things of that nature pop up after. That's how the algorithm is set. It's that's why sometimes we have to be a little bit careful about what we click on because sometimes we don't know that they set that algorithm to be as such. Yeah, I was doing some digging just late one night. Yeah, so
So, Plug, do you feel men are the problem with society today? I think you muted, Plug. Well, he got these fancy lapel stuff.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, most of them, bro. Most of them problem, bro.
Explain, elaborate.
And most of them can't think for themselves, bro. And most of them haven't been raised by men. Most of them haven't been raised by men. They haven't been around real men.
so I have a question. If they haven't been raised by men, but wouldn't that make the women a problem if they raising them? No, I can see what you're saying because there's no men. It's the man's fault, but is it the women's fault for raising them as well? I mean,
kind of go hand in hand, killer. I can't lie. It go hand in hand. It go hand in hand, man. It go hand in hand. But women are misinformed because they didn't have no men either. It's tough, bro. I wish I could have been here for y'all dialogue.
You missed too, but we were just talking like we all kind of feel that men aren't the problem, but I think Classic got something that you.
I'm just trying to figure this out. Like because look, if the mom is present, how's the dad at fault for being absent? It's the person who their fault. It's the person who their fault. If I'm not here, how am I influenced? So you saying my? Go ahead.
That as well. It was a clip that I heard earlier. Well, but it was like he said, man, sometimes y'all might need to sit down and have a conversation with your pops. He said you might want to sit down and have a conversation with your pops because you don't even know what type of woman your mother was. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what type of woman she is. You see the woman that she is today, who she's grown into be, but you didn't know how she was back then.
So, yeah. It's deeper than I agree with that. I saw that same clip, but it's deeper than that. And I talk about it on my channel before. I know you're getting ready to transition. So before we do, I gotta ask, y'all spiritual, religious brothers, like y'all Christian, what y'all doing? Okay, so if y'all think about the Bible, I don't know if y'all read the whole thing or if y'all studied it, how much, but think about it now if you haven't before. Is there more women in the Bible that ain't shit? Or that's like holier than thou? Just off top of your head. So is it fair? So is it fair, scripturally, spiritually, religiously? Is it fair to say that it is in the nature of the woman to be kind of evil? And the ones that are set aside, that are set apart, those are the wives. That's why a man that findeth a wife find a good thing. That means you was able to sort through, you know what I'm saying? Because in their nature, the first one of them, according to the word, the first one of them, disobedient, manipulative, right? Let's talk about it for real, right? She went to not only did she know what the laws was, she went to the tree. You went to the tree with the man present. You entertained a conversation with the serpent. Why are you speaking if the man is present? Shouldn't he be talking to the serpent? Not only that, before you ate of the fruit, the scripture says that you examined it, saw that it was good, nutritious. You thought it through and made a dumb decision and ate of the fruit. Not only did you eat of the fruit, but then you offered it to him. He examined it. Yeah, that's manipulation. That was the first gaslight in Genesis. That was the first gaslight. Let's talk about it for real. So
It's
it's safe. It's safe. Yeah. Let's listen. Let's.
but it's even deeper than that though.
Yeah.
Like, because you gotta. I tell people words are so important, and I think a lot of people look into the Bible because it also says Satan beguiled Adam and Eve. Go look up the word beguile and see what that means. Like, I think people like, I understand. I think that's like a, it's almost like a 50-50 debate. You know what I mean? Because you can look at Eve and blame Eve, but also you got to look at like, okay, they don't give us enough details. And I think that's why I tell people, like, when you think about the word, that's why so many women get trapped in Proverbs, right? But they don't go read the book of Ruth. Because if you go read the book of Ruth, Ruth is really telling you what type of woman you need to be. Like, we get stuck in this virtuous woman stuff, but if you keep reading that word and go to the book of Ruth, Ruth followed all instructions.
Yeah, I don't blame Eve though. I blame Adam totally because he was supposed. Yeah, I don't blame Eve at all. Adam, but that's to say the first man was weak of the flesh. The first man was a simp. The first man was soft. The first man wasn't a leader. That just let you know what our nature is. If we're taking this as this, and I'm a spiritual person,
deep,
but I know the word through and through. But I'm a spiritual man, right? But what I'm saying is, if the first man was weak like that, wasn't a leader, wasn't vocal, didn't tell her, put the fruit down. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? That's what should have occurred, right? But it didn't. So that lets us know what the first man's proclivity was. If the first woman can examine the fruit, talk to the serpent, and still choose to eat the fruit, that lets you know the nature of what the first woman was. So it's telling us right there what we fighting against in our nature, right? So to be greater, it's an uphill battle from there, right? You got to develop discipline. That's why these skills and these things stop so many people from being great, because they hard to have and to maintain. But that's really what it is, bro. Samson, before Samson finally got backdoored by Delilah, 3 other chicks backdoored him.
Yeah.
People don't even read the whole stories. They just know the end. Like, oh, she didn't cut his hair. She let the people in to get to him. You know what I'm saying? She cut his hair, then let the people in, so he was too weak to fight. But before that, he went to the brothel to go get something from a prostitute. You know what I'm saying? And she tried to set him up, but he left in the nighttime. They was going to try to get him in the morning. I know the word, right? Before that, his wife, he left town for a little bit after having a little scuffle, left town for a little bit, come back, his wife with another dude that he know. What's going on, y'all? So when we talk about this, even from a spiritual aspect of it, a man that find of a wife he hit the lotto. If you really think about it, their nature, bro. Think about y'all sisters, y'all cousins. We know the women that do this stuff. But if you say it out loud, you hate them, right? You're a misogynist. So
I like to think simpler. Like, for instance, take all the men and put them in a room. Most likely, we all go get along. When we disagree, we'll fight it out, but then we'll be back on the same accord, right? You put women in that circle, just only women, all hell go break loose, and we've seen it happen plenty of times, especially in the military. Norris knows. You put women in that little bitty circle, and they got to stare around each other for so long, all hell breaks loose. Where you can take us men, put us in that circle, we'll be good. We'll learn how to, move around. If we do get into altercations, it's a hit. Then we're back to what we exactly are. So when they ask us who's really the problem, gotta lean on the women, man.
All right. We ain't gonna stay. This is a subject we could talk about for a long period of time, especially if you go like from the spiritual aspect. So we're gonna go ahead and transition. Man, I wish the women were here, man. See, this is the problem. Even like Classic said, when we don't have women here, you can't even have these discussions. If there's any women watching live, put your opinion in the chat so we can talk about this. We can discuss it. We're kind of going to do a little pivot here because we don't have the women